Greetings Earthlings, and welcome back to my channel. This week I'm going to talk to you about probably 12 of the top considerations that you should think about when you're getting ready to purchase a new or new to you camper. So give me just a moment, let's roll the intro and we'll get right into it. Okay, so I'm going to do this differently than a lot of other YouTube content creators. I know a lot of people like to string you along to the end, and they're going to wait to keep that last little bit of information that's the most important to the very end. Well, I'm going to do it in reverse. That's the way I believe it ought to be. But I'm going to start with the most important consideration when getting ready to buy a new or new to you camper. And that number one consideration is the purpose that you're going to use the camper for. Okay, it's very important that you know what and how you're going to use your camper. If you're going to use it on just the weekends, or if you're going to use it for extended vacations, or if you're going to live in it full time, you have to know that up front, because the type of camper that you get is going to most likely be more conducive to that type of camping. So for instance, if you want something that you're going to live in full time, you're going to want to make sure that there's an ample amount of storage space under and above. So that would be the number one consideration and the first thing that you've got to figure out. All right, number two, you're going to want to know the number of people that you're going to have in the camper. Not only the number of people that's going to be in there on a regular basis, but also the worst case scenario. If you've got grandkids, you're going to bring 3 grandkids to go camping with you. Well, you're going to want to have some type of accommodations for those grandkids, even if it's a tent that you put out on the campsite. And a lot of people do that. So, but that's another consideration that you can think about. If you have grandkids that's going to be traveling with you frequently, then you may want to consider a bunkhouse version of whatever type camper that you choose to get. Bunkhouses are very practical. You have a space for people to sleep, and then when people are not sleeping there, it's a significant amount of space that you can use for storage of dry goods and things of that nature. You know, tents, folding chairs, and just about everything can be stored up there. You put a little cargo net over the front of it, and man, you're set to good to go for storage space. So that would be number two. Now, number three is going to be whether you want to have a towable camper, one that you pull behind the vehicle on either a trailer hitch or a fifth wheel, or if you want a drivable vehicle, which are Class A, Class C, Class B. There's all kind of different considerations out there. So you want to try to figure out, there's pros and cons about each one. So the towable trailers, they offer great freedom in the fact that you can get them to the campsite that you're going to be camped at. You can set them up, disconnect your towing vehicle from it, and you still have the freedom to move about and go into town and get groceries and all that stuff without hauling the camper with you. Okay, so that is a problem that you can overcome with the fifth wheels as well by towing a vehicle behind you. But for the most part, you want to figure out which one is best for you, which type you want to that you want to make your home or your vacation home or your weekend home. So one of the things that you need to consider in that area is ease of setup. Now, the drivable is far easier to set up. I mean, it's going to be, you pull on the lot, you know, you make sure you got enough space for your slide outs to open up, and pretty much if it's pouring down rain, you can level the thing from inside without ever getting out, and you can get up the next morning and hook up your electric sewer and all that stuff if you have a significant battery pack that'll get you through the night. If not, you might have to run out with an umbrella and hook up your electrical, but you don't have to spend that much time out there with the rest of it. A towable camper, you're going to have to get out of the vehicle in order to get into the towable camper. So just a little consideration that you might want to think about. All right, so next is number 4. That is size and maneuverability. Okay, so that's something to take into great consideration, because if you're not familiar with driving a large vehicle, you probably don't want to make your first experience in a large vehicle a 45-foot diesel pusher with 4 slide outs. You know, it's not practical unless you know that that's going to be your long-term goal, that you're going to keep that for a long period of time, and then it's going to be worth you figuring out how to drive it in a parking lot somewhere, or getting some experience behind the wheel, or maybe even taking a driver's course. I'm sure there's several companies out there that offer courses on how to drive the bigger vehicles like a diesel pusher. So that's another consideration that you're going to want to take under consideration as well. If you decide you want a drivable camper, do you want a diesel or do you want a gasoline? Gasoline is far cheaper than a diesel as far as the cost of fuel. And the mileage is not really that much different. You probably get a little better mileage with a diesel pusher than you do with a gasoline motor, but the cost of it is going to be significantly higher with diesel than it is with gasoline. The trade-off is that the diesel will pull half the planet without a problem, and the gasoline motor does have its limitations. Going up hills and things, it's sometimes struggles, but and depending on what kind of horsepower and what kind of torque you get. So, but my overall experience has been diesel is the better for a continuous push, and without having to worry about slowing down to a crawl when you're going up 81 or down 81 to Tennessee or something like that. So. Next thing is number 5 is your budget. How much money do you want to spend on the camper itself? Keeping in mind that you still have to budget for repairs, upgrades, maintenance, tires, things of that nature, and the cost of fuel. So you don't want to jump right into it and forget about the considering what it's going to cost you to operate the thing. So after that is number 6. Got to flip my page here with my notes on it, and that is amenities and features. All right, so there's a lot of different stuff that you can get on a camper. You got to figure out for you what are the must-haves and what are the would like to haves, and what are the I can do without that. For instance, I mean, you can get campers now with 2 bathrooms, or bath and a half, or you can get campers with a dishwasher. You can get campers with washer and dryer. There's a lot of stuff. Televisions, televators. I mean, just the list goes on and on. Do you want, what type of heating do you want? What type of, does it have a fireplace? Do you want a fireplace? Do you need a fireplace? There's so many things to consider. So and all of that will affect the cost, bringing you back to the budget. So make sure that you look into those things, figure that out, what you need, what you want, and go from there. So next is number 7, which is storage capacity. Like I was saying, if you're going to live in the thing full time, you're going to want to make sure you've got ample storage space. That is the exact reason that I decided to trade in my Monaco La Palma for the Integra that I have now. I needed more storage space. And I also like the idea of the washer and dryer and the dishwasher. So if you're going to live there full time, that's things that you're going to have to consider. I didn't want to go to the laundromat every week and have to drop quarters in a machine. I would just assume be able to do smaller loads twice a week in my camper. So the next thing, number 8, is seasonality. Okay, that's very important. Wait a minute, train going by. All right, that's very important, because you're going to want to know how to plan ahead. Basically, if you're going to be someone who's chasing 70 degrees all year long, you're going to go south in the winter, you're going to come back north in the summer, you're not going to be facing a whole lot of extreme heats because you're going to be changing your geography, then it's not that big of a consideration. But still, well, I got all kind of background accoutrements today. Uh, you're still going to want to make sure that you have an ample system for the type of camping that you're going to do. For instance, you know that campers now, a lot of campers have heat pumps. Now, heat pumps are great things as long as you're above 40 degrees. You can get heat out of them, but once it hits about 40 degrees, there ain't no heat coming out of that thing, and it's completely different than your home heat pump. For some reason, my heat pump here at the home base works just fine down to 20 degrees. I still get an ample amount of heat with it, and I don't have electric heat to back it up. But in the camper, that doesn't happen. At 40 degrees, you get nothing but cool air coming out of that thing. And the best thing you can do is just shut it off, because it's just going to freeze up and you're going to end up putting parts into it. So, so if you're going to be in areas that's going to be dipping down below 40, you need to have either a supplemental heat, one of the little portable heaters that you can carry with you, a portable fireplace, something that's going to augment the heat that you have coming out of the heat pumps. Or if you have a propane furnace in there, the propane furnace will usually do okay. A lot of the luxury coaches nowadays have a diesel boiler, and they have radiant heat in the floor, and they also have forced air heat that comes out of a couple of spots in the floor. So all those things are things that you must consider. By far, if you're going to be going into places where it's going to be cold, you want to make sure that you've got adequate insulation in the camper walls, that it's a 4-season camper, that it's designed to be used all year long, and you want to make sure that you've got something like that diesel boiler or diesel furnace that can run off the fuel tank. So all right, next on the list is towing capacity. If you decide you want to get a trailer type camper, fifth wheel or travel trailer, you're going to want to make sure that the vehicle that you're towing with is adequately set up to perform that task. Don't just think that, hey, I've got the baddest Ram 2500 on the market and it can pull the planet, because pulling it is only half the battle. You still have to stop it, and a lot of times that's where the issue comes in. It's not that you can't pull it, it's that you can't stop it in a reasonable amount of time. So make sure that the rating on your vehicle exceeds the gross vehicle weight on your travel trailer or your fifth wheel. So that's best thing you can do when it comes to towing, because there's all kind of YouTube videos out there that you can watch for people who ignored that particular instance, and their camper does some pretty neat tricks. So let's see, next you have to consider, that's number 10, you have to consider whether you want new or used. A lot of benefits to both. You get a warranty with a new camper, but sometimes it may not be worth it. There are several camper makes right now that are having issues. There's frame flex, delamination in new campers, leaks, the woodworking trim just falling off when you're going down the road. Unfortunately, there is really some crap being produced right now, and not by everybody. There's still some brands out there that are really taking the time to make sure that their name stays synonymous with quality. So, but do your homework, check online, get the reputation, find out about the current problems. And the best thing I've heard lately on YouTube or on the internet in some of the forums I go to is go to a forum for the brand that you're considering. Join that forum. Read. You got questions, ask questions. What are the most common problems you see with your unit? I mean, there is a wealth of information out there at your disposal. I mean, this ain't the 1960s anymore. It's right there in your palm of your hand most times, so utilize it. Save yourself a ton of money and a ton of aggravation. All right, next, floor plan, number 11. Floor plan is very important, because it's a comfort, it's a creature comfort. So you don't want to end up with a floor plan that you're not happy with. I mean, if your kitchen is on the left side of the camper toward the front and your refrigerator's halfway down the camper on the other side, that's not really convenient. So, you know, there are things that you have to consider. You know, if you're getting a travel trailer and the bedroom is at the same end of the camper as the tongue on that you tow by, that's going to be a bad sign when you get into a campground and your bedroom is sitting right on the other side of the wall from the road where the traffic goes by. Okay, so little things like that you have to take into consideration. You know, also, if you get a travel trailer, I've been long advocating you get a travel trailer with 2 doors, one at the back and one at the front, because some campsites are not level. You go to some city parks and you know, boondocking sites and stuff like that, and you end up having to get pretty creative. You end up with the tongue sitting on the ground with the jack all the way up, and you know, 4 center blocks and 3 of those Lego stack things to get under the back. So your back door that might be your normal door to utilize to go in and out is now, the step is 4 feet off the ground. So you either got to take a parachute or you got to have a door at the front that's down close to the ground. If you got 2 doors, one at each end, there's, you know, you're always going to be able to get out and without without the parachute. Okay, so make sure that you that you take that into consideration. And the last item, number 12, is see if you can get a test drive. I mean, if you're buying used, certainly you can test drive the vehicle, and most people will not be adverse to you taking it on a camping trip. Just, you know, let them know, hey, it's a lot of money I'm spending. You know, I like it thus far, but you know, I need to see, is it going to be practical for us before I spend this kind of money? And even new dealerships will often allow that. Some dealerships even have a hookup spot on site where you can camp outside the gate with the camper, and it never leaves their property, so they don't have to worry about insurance and stuff like that. And you have the ability to try it out for a day or two and see if it's what you're looking for and if it's what you expect. So, you know, don't be intimidated or afraid to ask. If you don't ask, you won't know. And a lot of times they do understand that you're getting ready to put a significant amount of money down on this thing, and that you want to have some comfort level knowing that your money is wisely spent. So with that, I hope that I brought you some valuable information. I know that it's going to be very valuable to those considering buying a camper for the first time, as that was a major undertaking for me. We spent about a week looking around, and we ended up right back at the first one that my wife went to, and she really liked that one, and that's the one that we settled on. So, and it was a used camper, and thus far I have yet to buy a new camper, and I'm on number 4 or 5 now. So I prefer to get used because I'm somewhat handy. I can take care of little issues that pop up, and then that way I don't have to worry about taking it back to the dealership and waiting for a 4-month down the road appointment to get some trim work fixed and stuff like that, which is something that you're going to have to consider if you decide to go with new and you want to get warranty repairs. There's a lot of these things being sold every day, so warranty repairs don't happen this week. All right, you got to plan ahead for those as well. All right, remember, campers, when camping, take only photos, leave only footprints. I'll see you next time.